The Vampire Queen and the Farmer. Chapter 1. The Child of the Storm. Thunder roared across the night sky. Rain poured endlessly from dark clouds, drenching the ancient forest below. Deep within that forest stood a magnificent castle, its towering spires piercing the stormy heavens. Inside the castle, maids hurried through the halls in panic and excitement. The child is coming. The lady is giving birth. The entire castle was awake. After hours of labor, the cries of a newborn finally echoed through the chamber. A baby girl had been born. Her parents gazed lovingly at her crimson eyes and silver-black hair. Emily, her mother whispered. Emily Smith. The infant was the heir of one of the most powerful vampire families in existence. This was not the old world of endless war. Centuries ago, vampires and werewolves had nearly driven each other to extinction through hatred and bloodshed. But time had changed everything. Now, the two races lived together in relative peace. Although conflicts occasionally arose, they had long abandoned the endless wars of the past. Among vampires, however, the Smith family remained legendary. They were feared throughout the kingdom. Merciless toward enemies, unmatched in battle, and powerful beyond imagination, Emily was born into greatness. Chapter 2. The Night of Betrayal. Years passed. Emily grew into a beautiful and intelligent young woman. At 16 years old, she was already known as a prodigy. Many believed she would one day become the strongest leader her family had ever produced. Unfortunately, greatness attracted envy. Some of her relatives desired the family's wealth and influence for themselves. Greed poisoned their hearts. One fateful night, the Smith estate was attacked. The assault came without warning. Enemies poured through the gates while traitorous relatives opened secret passages from within. The battle was brutal. Flames consumed the castle. Blood stained the stone floors. By dawn, nearly the entire Smith family had been slaughtered. Emily barely escaped with her life. Believing her dead, the traitors celebrated their victory. But they were wrong. Far away from the battlefield, an elderly vampire carried the unconscious girl through the forest. Her grandfather, the only surviving elder of the Smith bloodline. I won't let our family disappear, he vowed. Chapter 3. Years of Vengeance. For 7 years, Emily lived in secrecy. Her grandfather trained her relentlessly. Swordsmanship, politics, combat, leadership, survival. By the age of 23, Emily had become a force to be feared. When the time finally came, she emerged from the shadows. The traitors never saw her coming. One by one, she dismantled their organizations. She seized their wealth, destroyed their alliances, exposed their crimes. Those responsible for murdering her family faced justice. Some were imprisoned, others fell in battle against her. Within months, the conspiracy that had destroyed her family ceased to exist. The Smith name rose once again. Yet victory felt strangely empty. The revenge she had pursued for years could not bring her family back. Chapter 4. A Quiet Life. Not long afterward, Emily's grandfather passed away peacefully. His death devastated her. For the first time, she truly felt alone. After inheriting his lands, castles, and fortune, she became one of the most influential figures in the vampire kingdom. But leadership came with endless responsibilities. Court meetings, political disputes, noble rivalries. Emily slowly grew exhausted. One evening, overwhelmed by everything, she left the castle alone to clear her mind. While traveling through the forest, she was ambushed by unknown attackers. Though she defeated most of them, she suffered serious injuries. Bleeding and exhausted, she collapsed deep within the woods. Chapter 5. The Farmer. Near a peaceful stream stood a small wooden house. A young werewolf named Hayden lived there with his younger sister, Amy. Hayden was 24 years old. Handsome, hardworking, kind-hearted. He spent his days farming, gathering fruits, fishing, and hunting in the forest. Unlike many werewolves, he had little interest in politics or power. He preferred a simple life. One afternoon, while collecting berries, he noticed something unusual. A figure lay beneath a tree. As he approached, his eyes widened. A young woman covered in blood. Without hesitation, he lifted her into his arms and carried her home. Amy immediately helped treat the stranger's wounds. For several days, Emily remained unconscious. When she finally opened her eyes, Hayden smiled. Looks like you're awake. Emily stared at him. She expected questions, interrogation, suspicion. Instead, Hayden simply handed her a bowl of soup. You should eat. For the first time in years, Emily felt completely speechless. Chapter 6. 3 months. Emily claimed she needed time to recover. The truth was that she enjoyed staying there. The peaceful house felt nothing like her castle. No politics, no schemes, no enemies. Just Hayden and Amy. She helped clean the house, cook meals, gather vegetables, even repair fences. The villagers were shocked. The feared Emily Smith was happily washing dishes. Over time, Hayden began developing feelings for her. He admired her strength, her intelligence, and the gentle side she showed only around them. Meanwhile, Emily found herself smiling more often than ever before. For the first time since childhood, she felt happy. Chapter 7. The Queen Returns. Their peaceful days eventually ended. One morning, dozens of armored guards arrived. Lady Emily. The entire village froze. Hayden and Amy watched in shock. The soldiers knelt before Emily. The kingdom needs you. Political unrest had erupted throughout vampire territory. Nobles were fighting for influence. Criminal groups were causing chaos. Emily had no choice. She had to return. Hayden offered to accompany her. For your safety. Emily smiled softly. No, but I'll come back. Before leaving, she gently kissed his cheek. Then she disappeared into the distance. Chapter 8. The Confession. 6 months later, a familiar carriage arrived at Hayden's home. Emily stepped out. Before Hayden could speak, she wrapped her arms around him. I missed you. Hayden stood frozen. Emily then revealed the truth. Her family, her title, her past, everything. Both Hayden and Amy were stunned. Yet neither rejected her. To them, she was still the woman who helped wash dishes and cook dinner. Not a terrifying vampire noble. Soon afterward, Emily confessed her feelings. And Hayden confessed his own. At last, they became a couple. Chapter 9. The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Not everyone was happy. A nobleman named Lewis harbored hatred toward vampires. Years earlier, his father had died during a conflict involving vampire guards. Lewis blamed all vampires for his loss. Seeking revenge, he devised a plan. He befriended Amy, brought gifts, acted kind, pretended to care, but beneath the smile lurked darker intentions. His true goal was to kidnap Amy and use her against Emily. Chapter 10. The Truth. One afternoon, Emily and Hayden left to explore a nearby town. Amy stayed behind, sewing fabric for a gift she planned to make for Emily. That was when Lewis arrived carrying flowers. He entered with a charming smile. Unfortunately for him, Emily and Hayden had returned earlier than expected. Immediately, they noticed something suspicious. Lewis attempted to flee. He failed. Minutes later, he found himself tied to a chair inside a secure basement. What are you planning? Emily demanded. Lewis glared at her. Revenge. My father died because of vampires. You murdered him. Silence filled the room. Then Emily spoke calmly. No. Lewis frowned. What do you mean? My guards didn't kill your father without reason. She revealed documents preserved from years ago. The records detailed horrifying experiments. Lewis's father had captured vampires and werewolves. He had attempted to steal their powers through blood infusion. The experiments failed. Instead, he transformed himself into a monstrous creature that attacked innocent people. The guards had been forced to stop him. Lewis read every page. His hands trembled. No, it can't be true. But the evidence was undeniable. The father he admired had become a monster long before his death. The revenge he had pursued for years had been built on a lie. Defeated, Lewis lowered his head. For the first time, he understood the truth. Emily released him. Your father made his choices. Lewis quietly walked away. And with that, the conflict finally came to an end. Epilogue. Moonlight and Eternity. Years later, peace flourished across the lands of vampires and werewolves. Emily ruled wisely, earning the respect of both races. Hayden remained by her side. Not as a king, not as a noble, but as the man she loved. Amy became a famous designer whose handmade creations were admired throughout the kingdom. And on quiet nights, when the moon shone over the castle and the forests below, Emily would sit beside Hayden and remember the day he found her wounded beneath a tree. The day a ruthless vampire heiress met a simple farmer. The day both of their lives changed forever.